In today's video, I'm going to show you how to get rid of a hornet's nest safely and effectively without getting stung. Bald-faced hornets are incredibly territorial and aggressive, and I had a huge nest hanging from a tree in my front yard that was extremely dangerous for anyone that got too close, mainly me. Now, a lot of people would call a pest company for something like this, but that can get expensive fast. I'm going to show you 3 different removal techniques using these same products and tools that the pros use. And at the end of the video, I'm going to pull apart the nest. And if you've ever wondered what the inside looks like, it's kind of weird, a little bit gross, but actually pretty cool. Okay, the first method is the tried and true wasp spray, and it's generally everyone's go-to. I found the most effective spray to be Wasp Freeze. I haven't come across anything with better knockdown power and immediate results. True to the name, it paralyzes and kills on contact fairly instantly. I don't like the price of this product, but considering the task at hand, I'm more than happy to pay a premium for a product that I actually have confidence in. But here's the bonus tip I picked up from a professional pest control technician, and it's to use one of these extendable poles with a can mount on the end. My goal is to be as far away from the nest as possible, and standing on a ladder limits my escape options if they swarm, so I don't like that. It's super cool because it lets me stay farther away from the nest and all the action. The extendable pole gives me plenty of range, and the can gets strapped into this mount that lets me trigger it by pulling a string. I'm gonna have all this stuff linked for you guys if you want to check it out. I gotta throw out another safety tip, and even though I'm gonna keep my distance from the nest, I'm still gonna wear protective clothes. I've got rubber muck boots, long pants, Carhartt jacket with a hood, and an Amazon bee suit over the whole thing with leather gloves. Overkill? Maybe. Sweaty and uncomfortable? Definitely. Yeah, it's August in Minnesota and it's humid. But do you know what's more uncomfortable? Getting absolutely lit up by a nest of hornets. A big nest like this can house hundreds of these things, and if they swarm and attack, I'm gonna be in trouble. Do I think I'm sting proof? No, but it's way better than nothing. For real though, I bought this bee suit a few years ago, and honestly, I use it a handful of times a year. Zero regrets with that purchase. Plus, it looks super cool and doubles as a Halloween costume. That's a win-win. My plan is to get in and hit them hard and then get out. I'm trying to fully drench the nest, but I want to pay special attention to the entrance at the bottom. If I do this right, nobody will be able to get in or out. Wasp Freeze comes as a 2-pack and it goes really fast. I'm going to completely empty the clip, take a break to reload, then I'm going back for round 2. These wasps will have guards posted on the exterior of the nest, specifically watching for threats like me. They'll alert the others to attack through pheromones, but not if I spray them first before the call can go out. Everything went pretty good and according to plan, so that was lucky. I didn't even get stung once. My aim was good enough to mostly hit the nest and the entrance, and they didn't swarm and attack, so that means I moved fast enough and the entrance probably got blocked by dead wasps pretty quickly. I'm gonna leave the nest alone for now and check back later for additional activity and see how I did. Insecticide dust is another popular method, and that's my second removal technique that I wanna show you. Delta dust is really good for situations where you have limited access to the nest itself. For this nest just hanging out in the open, I had unobstructed access to hit them hard with the spray, but that's not always the case. Some wasps like to build nests in voids found in buildings or rock walls. Yellow jackets love to build nests in the ground too. I mean, if you haven't ran over a yellow jacket nest with your mower, have you really lived? If you don't have a clear shot at the nest and it's built deep into a cavity or a void or underground, dust might just do the trick. The pros apply dust with one of these bulb type blowers, and when the dust is blown out of the tip, it has the ability to stay suspended in the air and nearly float into cracks and crevices. That's really the main benefit. The suspended dust can get into areas that have really limited access, and the goal here is to get into an area that sees traffic. You want to have the wasps crawl all over it, and once it's on their legs and bodies, they'll track it all over the nest and the colony will collapse. Sometimes with the hand-operated dust bulbs, you have to get pretty close to the action, but once again, using that same extension pole and the same mount adapter I used in the first technique, I can do similar and rig up the bulb applicator and then use the pull string to puff the dust from a safe distance. That's another pro tip that I learned from a pest control professional that was at my house to treat some yellowjack. I looked in his truck, I asked a bunch of questions about tools and equipment, and now I'm passing that info on to you. You're welcome. The third method is quick and easy, but it's also the most dangerous. When it goes right, it's a slam dunk. But when it goes wrong, the fail video gets posted by your buddies. It's basically knocking down the nest in its entirety and trying to contain it until everyone dies. If it's up in a tree like mine, you can try to catch it in a garbage can and quickly close the lid, or a garbage bag and tie off the end. Messing with an active nest can go horribly wrong though. You might miss the garbage can or shank it off the side. There's a lot of time when you're trying to knock it down or cut it down that the hornets or wasps can perceive the threat and swarm too. If you miss the garbage can and the nest hits the ground, I can guarantee you that they will not be happy. You can run, but hornets are incredibly fast flyers. You're not going to be faster than they are. Like I said, this is the high risk, high reward gambling method of wasp removal. It's never my #1 choice, but when executed correctly, it's very fast and very effective. I checked back on my nest 2 days later, and my first technique did the trick this time, and I didn't need to follow it up with the Delta dust. You can see this guy frozen in place on the outside of the nest. That must have been one of those guards at the time of the attack. As I'm pulling this thing apart, check out all the dead hornets at the bottom near the entrance. I think by hitting the entrance, I was able to block them in because the bodies just started piling up at the door, and there was really nowhere for them to go. There's got to be at least 100 in here, and I did it during the day too, so a lot of the nest was probably not home. Most professionals would recommend that you try to treat a nest at dusk, or better yet, even at night. That just increases your chances of hitting all the active members of the colony because everyone flies out and does foraging during the day, and at night everybody flies back in and is definitely home, and they're not as active at night, so your chances of getting out without getting stung also increase. However, if you're making content for YouTube, the video just doesn't look as good at night. So I did mine during the day. At the top of the nest, you can see the comb tiers, and that's where the queen lays eggs, and eventually the larvae emerge as adult workers. If you look closely, you can see some of the cells still moving, and this is 2 days later. Without the workers attending to them though, it's unlikely that they're gonna emerge and survive. And that's wasp and hornet removal without getting stung. These bald-faced hornets were pretty scary, but using the same tools, products, and safety gear as the pros, I was able to easily and safely remove the nest. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to try one of the products you saw me use, I got it all from Amazon, and I'll link everything in the video description for you. You should also check out my mosquito and mole removal videos. You can click into them here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.